Hello again. Welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. This week again, we're sponsored by AGI, and we thank them for their support and sponsorship. They do have a message at the end of the video. We encourage you to stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, you are stuck with both of us in our undisclosed locations. Mine, I got a little more decor. I got a new poster for Christmas. Another civil defense poster from the 1950s, so it's very exciting. The fallout shelter is getting more and more realistic as we go, so that's exciting. I think got another one coming that's stuck in the maelstrom of the postal service. So I think I got one more coming. But hey, good stuff. So anyway, yeah, Happy New Year, sir. And how are you doing?
Yeah, Happy New Year, Paul. We made it to 2021 by the time this video airs, and I suspect that maybe it'll be I see your tree has disappeared. I think maybe the last time we'll be looking at your Christmas lights behind your head, perhaps. Or are you going to leave those up just for fun?
I don't know. We'll see how, at the end of next week, we'll see how festive I am. And maybe they stay, maybe they don't. I imagine they'll probably go, though. I think it's time. They've served their purpose, and it's time to get on with the serious business of 2021.
Yes, amen. So before we get too deep into this week's news, I just wanted to, bring up, I know usually when you get a new year, we have resolutions for the new year, of course, but I thought given what kind of year we had in 2020, that maybe kind of tied to my resolution for the year, because I do like to have resolutions that are attainable and that I won't bail on within the first week or two of the new year. I wanted to look back sort of at my regret from 2020. And I guess in my mind, my biggest regret in 2020 is the fact that with the COVID-19 pandemic out there, I did not get a chance to travel almost at all of last year. And, I've been a trade journalist since 1987. I think normally between travel times would be about 80, maybe 90 days between times when I'd be traveling. I know that back in 2018, I seem to remember that out of the 52 weeks during that year, I was on the road for about 30. But here, lo and behold, if everything goes what they're saying, and we have a vaccine available for most people by the end of June, by the time I travel again in 2021, it'll be about a 500-day lapse since my last trip at the end of February during 2020 to do the Commodity Classic in San Antonio. So my biggest regret is not being able to get out on the road. I've missed all my friends out there. I mean, Zoom meetings are great, but, it's a little hard to toast one another with a glass of wine or a soft drink over casual conversation and not be afraid of spilling something on my keyboard and shorting out my computer. So how about you, Paul? What resolution/regret from 2020 would you say that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, I don't know about regrets. I think, absolutely not being able to travel has been hard. It's been really tough not seeing people. And we've said it before here, you just can't get the same level of engagement with people over the Zoom that you can face to face. And we've done kind of the best that we can. And we've tried to do some webinars and some live virtual events to get the information out that we want to, and to talk about the kind of things that we want to talk about, or the things that we perceive are the big issues of the day. And I think we're pretty successful on that front. In the early 2021, as you said, probably through most of the first half of the year, we'll be doing very much the same thing, trying to engage people as best as we can. But it is tough without shows, without any handshaking and real engagement with people. It's very, very hard. I say personally for me, I was able to actually start jogging again in March.
There you go.
And I'm doing, I've improved my 3-mile time to a pretty good spot right now, and lost a little weight. So I felt pretty good about that. I've tried to take advantage of the opportunities that, not having to drive for, an hour and 15 minutes there and, to work and back every day, actually making some meals. I did a brake job on my daughter's car over the weekend. I was pretty proud of myself. And, the guys out there in the shops looking at this, what a sissy. The guy's never done a brake job before. Are you kidding me? done other stuff to cars, and but I'm certainly not fearless when it comes to machines. And the fact that I was actually able to do that myself, basically just schooling myself on YouTube and checking out, how to do these things. I felt pretty good about that. Maybe ready for some more in-depth kind of car stuff. So, it's fun. It's a chance to kind of test some things and do some things that I would not have done before. And from that standpoint, I don't regret that, because we really have tried to take advantage of it. But the negative is always there. You really want to be around for the market and to see what people are doing. I guess the other thing I'd say was a regret was not seeing the great crops. We've had some pretty lousy cropping years. I mean, especially in 19, that's the last taste of a crop year that I had.
Right.
It was awful, especially here in Ohio. And this year, by all accounts, it was outstanding in a lot of areas. And I miss seeing, good, healthy 8-9 foot, 10-foot corn crops, growing out in Iowa and looking strong and great. And so I hope, 2021 is a good year. We get out in the car and start checking this stuff out and engaging with folks who are excited about what they're growing again.
No, very good, Paul. So I agree with you 100%. And I know myself, I had a doctor's appointment just before Christmas, and my doctor was surprised that I'd actually lost weight, because he said every other one of his stay-at-home clients had put on about 10 pounds or so. And I'm like, all right, well, and I keep myself from snacking by basically not having snacks in the house. So I think that's a good deterrent right there.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have is with my son Steve being home from college. There's more of that kind of material laying around.
Yes.
When
College.
just the two of us, it wasn't that bad, but now it's like, oh, that looks good. That's why I have one of those. Well, that was dumb.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, we do have some news to get to. Now, Paul, stop me if all this might sound familiar, but I've got 3 bits of news to share under the categories of virtual, mergers, and lawsuits. So let me know which one you'd like to discuss first, and we'll go from there. So
it's like that old Warren Zevon song, "Lawyers, Guns, and Money."
It seems like we've been talking about those 3 topics ad nauseum, but lo and behold, they're still in the news. So
okay, let's start with lawyers then. Lawyers, is that good?
Lawsuits, but yeah.
Lawsuits. All right.
Yes, well, of course. As you remember, last year, middle of 2020, we had the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals bring down a decision that vacated the Dicamba label. That was based on a lawsuit brought against Dicamba by various groups, basically saying the 2018 registration was flawed, and the court agreed. So EPA got together and put through a new registration in October of 2020, which re-registered Dicamba's formulation for another 5 years. Well, lo and behold, just before New Year's Day, we found out that the same group of plaintiffs that filed the original lawsuit, and that would include the National Family Farm Coalition and the Center for Food Safety, have again filed a new lawsuit against Dicamba's new registration, basically saying it is flawed and that Dicamba is inherently dangerous and should not be used. And lo and behold, they filed that with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals in San Francisco. So I guess, Paul, if at first you succeed, you're going to try to succeed again is the message here. So,
yes. Something Jay Vroom always told me very early on in watching the legislations. Once the environmentalists find a hammer that works, they'll beat that hammer over and over again until the hammer breaks, and then they'll go find another tool to beat it down with. So that's pretty core, and I think everyone in DC knows that would be something that they would continue to try to do until it doesn't work. A few conversations with some of the stakeholders, chemical crop protection companies, you do hear, I asked them specifically about that, and their answer is, we've done our very best. We trust the EPA. They really can't say one way or another what the circuit courts could do, or what the courts might concoct, or what plaintiffs might concoct to make something change on that front. But I think it was a conversation with with the folks at CropLife America, and they told me that they really went through the ruling and they found all of the things that the circuit court had problems with, and they made sure that the label addressed all of those individual points to ensure that there would have to be something completely new and completely outside of what they found before in order to make this or order to turn this label around or turn a ruling against it. So I think they feel as good as they possibly can about it and have done as much as they can about it. And it's just a matter of whether you get this activist legislation, activist legal action happening again. And I guess nobody really knows, and this is the ultimate test right now, is to see if it's gonna sink or swim.
Yeah, and like I said, the note that I ran across that talked about this new filing for a lawsuit, there didn't seem to be any timetable attached to it. So obviously stay tuned to CropLife Retail Week in the next couple of months, and we'll be following this when we get news on it. So.
Okay, and you got something else? Is that it?
Well, no, like I said, either mergers or virtual.
Oh, mergers. All right, mergers.
Mergers? Okay. Well, as you know, we've had a lot of cooperatives over the last year or so, actually the last couple of years, that have merged together and made larger ag retail outlets in the country. Found out that we've got another potential one going on. First Cooperative Association and Albert City Elevator, which is solely owned by Ag Partners. Now, both those companies are CropLife 100 members. You'll recognize their names. They have signed in a memorandum of understanding, if you will, to look at possible unification of those two entities in 2021. So according to the statement from both, they are both in strong financial positions, but given market dynamics, it seemed to make sense for them to at least study a possible unification of these two groups into one for 2021, and that they'll be doing that. And here sometime, and probably by the middle of this year, they'll make a decision of whether or not to formally merge or not.
Yep, I suspect they probably will. It sounds like that's we heard that going through the CropLife 100 research, and I heard it in working on this Retail 2025 report I'm working on right now. Is the next 3 or 4 years are going to be huge for consolidation. You're really going to see folks trying to get together to combat the large regional, super regional, and national organizations to try and carve out that place to be sustainable into the future. It's just going to take more scale. It's just kind of the bottom line of it. So not surprising, and I'm sure we'll see more.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then looking forward, of course. I'm sorry?
Leaves us with virtual, right? Or
yeah, virtual, correct. Yeah. We had mentioned a couple of videos ago that our friends at the Commodity Classic had decided that in 2021, rather than gathering people in person down in San Antonio, Texas for their show, they were going to hold it virtually. And this week, they've announced that the virtual dates for Commodity Classic 2021 will be March 2nd through the 5th. And that registration for the event will be open as of January 26th. So if you're interested in virtually attending Commodity Classic here in 2021, check out their website and register yourself at the end of January, and you'll be ready to go to hear everything that's going on or will be going on at that event. Rather than live, you'll be getting it virtually in your living room or on your computer at the very least.
I just want to know if they're going to send me the yardsticks and the stress balls virtually. That's what I'm looking for.
I have had nobody talk about the tchotchke being sent through the mail, but maybe there'll be some. Who knows? I mean, at the very least, maybe headphones so people could listen in to the virtual events a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, remember that was like Chris coming home on Christmas after that show when my kids were young.
Oh yeah,
a bag of fun stuff and just spill it on the counter and let them fight over it.
Yeah, I know. My son always used to love the Commodity Classic because, like the trade groups, the Soybean Association, the corn growers, they'd hand out these little foam corn cobs and soybeans. And I used to bring those home. And when my son was younger, oh my gosh, he would play with those things for at least a week after I came home from the show before they disappear into a drawer somewhere in his bedroom. So.
Yeah, corn and soybean man were always extremely popular. Always.
Yes. So that's about all I got for this week, Paul. That's pretty long list, actually. I'm kind of surprised, given in the middle of the holidays there was as much news for us to talk about as there was. So.
Well, it's agriculture's always trying to crank that stuff out right before the end of the year, so it's not surprising. Get a few things going on.
Yeah. So to everyone out there, again, Happy New Year, and we are all hopeful that 2021 will be a much more memorable year in the right way than 2020 was.
Absolutely. Thanks again to our sponsor, AGI. Again, stay tuned for their message at the end. Thanks for joining us at this edition of CropLife Retail Week, and we will see you next week.
AGI SureTrack Plant Manager is a hardware and software platform that includes trusted solutions for bin monitoring, automated grain conditioning, soil probes, and weather stations. The newest addition is AGI SureTrack Plant Manager, which is a unified, comprehensive management platform that interfaces with all your liquid and dry fertilizer blending equipment. SureTrack Plant Manager combines the proven functionalities of Jungi Dispatcher and Yargus software suite. Key features include increased ROI due to reduced training efforts and increased employee productivity, a single platform giving retailers the opportunity to manage liquid and dry orders, a modernized UI that employees are familiar with, and friendly reminders that required maintenance is due to be performed. For more information, visit aggrowth.com/fertilizer, call or contact your AGI Fertilizer Systems sales representative.
If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.